Health news, you sick bastard!
20 tips to make your life just plain better, part 1. So here we're going to cover the first 5. So there was a study done of people, a survey done of people over the age of 60, and they were asked, what advice would you give the young generation? And the first one, which was off the record, the 0th advice, was just don't get old. Please, learn from my lessons. Can you see me? Do you see what I look like? I used to be beautiful. But if aging is to be a thing that is to happen, then, clearly they're going to have to age. So, number 1, sometimes you'll hear people say, get a job doing something you love. Well, that's just not practical. Tip number 1, don't do that. There are jobs. A good job is one that you like some days, tolerate all days, and that pays the damn bills. You don't have to love your job. The right job, there's going to be some bad days. You can't just go in and say, well, you know what? Margaret didn't refill the coffee pot. I'm out of here. I need to do something I love, like pottery. I'm sure there are people who make money doing pottery. There's got to be 8 or 10 of them in the whole country. No, you need to do a job that you're good at, that fulfills you enough, but pays the bills. So, number 2, out of 20, we're only doing 5 today. Years go by in the blink of an eye. Don't marry young, live your life, go places, do things. If you have the means to do so or not, make it happen. You can be broke but still travel. Pack a bag and go wherever you can afford to go while you have no dependents. Don't marry young. Don't have kids too young. You got to figure out who you are. Once you have kids, travel becomes very difficult. Taking days off becomes very difficult. Don't buy stuff. People like stuff. Don't shackle yourself down. When I was, 18 or 19, I got into a contract on my pager, I think. And my mom was like, oh my gosh, you're making a huge mistake. Well, that was like $10 a month for 2 years or a year. That's a $120 commitment. But now I see 18-year-olds getting credit cards and, I've got a $1,000 limit. I think I'll go buy $1,000 worth of stuff. Don't do that. That's just stuff you have to store when you go traveling. See the world. Look through travel magazines, through websites, talk to friends, pick a place and just go. In my mid-20s, I decided I hadn't seen enough of the world, so I made a list of places I wanted to go, and I just went. Didn't know anybody, didn't speak the language, went to Shanghai, changed my life. Amazing. Number 3, don't take life so seriously. Even if things seem dark and hopeless, try to laugh at how ridiculous life is. And, don't take life so seriously. Someone unfriends you on Facebook? Fine, let it go. It's not a big deal. Someone, slights you at work or doesn't like you? Who cares? Let it go. It's not a big deal. When you look back at your life, none of these things matter. What matters is the things that change you and shape you and make you who you are. Focus on those. Number 4, a true friend will come running if you call them at 2 a.m. Everyone else is just an acquaintance. Now, I've had some people who considered themselves very good friends of mine who wouldn't cross the street to piss on me if I was on fire. Those are not good friends. Those are acquaintances. Those are people you know, but who don't really love you. They don't care about you. I've got a list of maybe 7 people who, if I called them right now and said, look, I'm having a crisis, I desperately need you. My kid's in the hospital, come babysit the other kids, they'd be here. They'd be pissed, but they'd be here. And that's with me living a good 30, 40 miles from all of them. So, don't give too much credence or affinity to people who wouldn't do it for you. If you want them to be that in your life, certainly work towards it. So number 5, the last one for today, the most important person in your life is the person who agreed to share their life with you. Treat them as such. So what that means is, if your buddy says, oh man, your wife has totally got you wrapped around her finger. Well, yes, because we stood in front of a justice of the peace or a minister and we pledged our lives to one another. You and I have not done that, my good friend. Maybe we shared a drunken bro job in New Orleans, but that is quite another matter. That is quite another matter. She promises one of these days she'll reciprocate the favor, but she has, since she hasn't grown a penis, to my knowledge, maybe the timing isn't right. No, the point is, if you're married, if you have kids, you've got to really give top priority to that person. Now, if that person is trying to control you or abuse you or act in a way that's detrimental, you certainly have to address that. But they do come first. And addressing that comes first. So I've got 3 more parts to this segment on how to make your life just plain better. But that's enough for this week.